What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Reasonable Doubt, Season 3, Episode 5. So, we are at the opening statements of the Ozzy trial. We had Ozzy and his agent slash, you know, predator, getting him ready for trial. Miss Monica, I believe. I think I called her Maxie in the last review. And she is supplying him his, narcotics. Okay. And then we have Max getting ready for the trial, looking good. Okay. So we see the opening statement by the DA, and then we see the opening statement by Max. And baby Max laid that thing out. Okay. She did a really good job of convincing us that maybe he didn't do it. I mean, I was even sitting there going, eh. It was a really, really good opening statement. Even the DA knew she knocked it out the park. Okay. But while this is going on, baby sister is getting a phone call from somebody she has on her phone as FUCK no. Now, we have all had that person in our phone. I have one of my friends, he had somebody's phone number in his phone, an ex-girlfriend, and it said, when she called, it said, "You're a fool if you answer this call." You know what I mean? Like, we all have had our, don't answer that phone call situations. And so in that instance, she has the fuck no, okay? And this person is calling and calling and calling and calling and calling. Now, they get back to the house after opening statements, and Jax is pressing them, Ozzy and his sister, like, listen, who were you with that night? Like, we know, or we truly seriously believe that you were with somebody that night. Who were you with that night? Because they can be your alibi. And Ozzy is like, listen, why are you pressing me out? I told you where I was. I told you what I was doing. I told you I don't have an alibi. But they don't believe him, and he knows they don't believe him, but he ain't ready to tell it, okay? He ain't ready to tell it. Now, the other side of that is Jax says, look, she clears the room, and she tells him, look, I know Monica is the one. He was like, I never told you it was Monica. Where'd you get that from? She said, oh, I was just taking a guess, but your reaction lets me know that I'm right. Monica is the one. She said, and this can't be healthy that she is still your agent, that she is still, you are still dealing with her on a day-to-day basis. Like, we need to get her ass away from you. And of course, Jax has no idea that this woman slept with him the night before, and it's getting him high all over again. Now, he looks like he's going through withdrawal, but she thinks that he's really going through withdrawal, but she realizes, oh no, you're just nervous. Like, me just bringing up her name has you feeling some kind of way. Now, Jax is kind of at a crossroads because what do you do? Like, he ain't gonna get rid of it. I mean, he at this point he ain't gonna get rid of her, or is in the middle of a trial. It's probably not the best thing anyway. The other thing is they said, listen, if you were home that night watching TV, like, maybe we can look at your Netflix account, see your streaming, maybe we can follow your account. That way we know that you were logged in. So the sister goes to get the information for the PI, and baby, they get the kissing, and they've had this sexual tension going on for a minute. Well, while he's there, he sees that somebody is calling her from the phone number fuck no, and he's like, well, who is that? Who is this? Who is this F no person? And she was like, look, it's just an ex that I don't want to be bothered with. But his instincts tells him it's a little bit deeper than that. Now, as the trial goes on, we have the detective on the scene testify, and actually he did a pretty good job. Jax tried to get him, like, well, why didn't you follow up on burglaries in the area? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And he was like, well, because nothing was stolen out the cabin, so we had no reason to believe it was a burglary. Like, all roads pointed to your client. The medical examiner also testified again. Testified to the caliber of the bullet that was found, and all of that. So those were actually pretty decent witnesses. Nothing, in my opinion, nothing too damning. Didn't really, it didn't condemn him, didn't clear him, nothing too damning. So then we see Jax roll up on her mama as she walking with her senior squad. And she rolls up on her mama like, why are you telling my daddy all my business? Like, him and Lewis got into it, and he basically had all my business, and he threw it in Lewis's face. He talked about, the guy that tried to kill me. He talked about who paying what bills in the house, all about the pregnancy and the miscarriage. Now, on one hand, I think Jax had every right to be pissed off at her mama because, first of all, ma'am, up until last week, you didn't even fuck with this man. Okay. Like, you told me to stay away from him. And now, not only have you forgiven him and you cool with him, but now you are telling him all my business and emasculating my husband. She said, listen, at the end of the day, that is still my husband. And I would appreciate it if you did not share my personal business with him. I would tell my daddy what I want him to know when I want him to know it. And her mother was like, first of all, I'm still your mama, so watch your tone. Okay. Watch your tone. She said, and you're right. You absolutely should be having this conversation with your daddy and leave me out of the middle of it. I said, well, she kind of got you on that one, Jax. So then back over to Ozzy's house, Eddie done showed up. Now, what's going on? Oh, Lord, this stupid thing. Eddie done shown up. Hold on. Let me find out what's going on. What we found out from Eddie is, Eddie has shown up. My bad, y'all. And what we found out from him is he is a former child actor, but of course his role was not as successful as Ozzy's. And he is the guy that was on the phone with Ozzy back, basically he's his alibi. But he's not willing to come forward and he's not willing to, give Ozzy an alibi. And as a matter of fact, he's actually blackmailing the family. And it looks like they had already paid him like $10,000. And now he's like, look, the police are calling me. The block is getting hot. I need $100,000 to disappear. And Sissy was like, what happened to the $10,000 we just gave you? Like, where'd that go? And he was like, LA is expensive. But what we realize is he's been the one supplying Ozzy all these years. And he's feeling some kind of way, a little jealous of Ozzy or whatever, right? And he was like, listen, you need to get me my money, or I'm going to the police and I'm telling them everything I know. And she was like, listen, I need you to chill out for a little while. I need you to give me a little bit of time. We're in the middle of this trial. It's not going to look good if we just start pulling out large amounts of money and moving money around. Like, please give us some time to get this together. And he was like, you need to get it together like sooner rather than later. Okay. Also, we realized that this is fuck no. So this is somebody that she has some sort of a relationship with, as well as his ins and outs with Ozzy. Okay. Then we see Lewis linking up with the PI. And he wants a tracker because he's trying to put a tracker, and Eddie is Jax's daddy. My bad, y'all. Eddie is not the child actor. That's Jax's daddy. But he wants a tracker because he was like, listen, I need to keep an eye on what Eddie got going on. Like, is he relapsed? Is he back in them streets? Because I don't want him around Jackson. I definitely don't want him around my kids if he is still getting high and he's just gonna, do the things to my kids that he did to Jax. So the PI helps him out. He gives him a tracker. And baby, we'll get to that. So then back at the trial, we have the neighbor testify who basically says, look, yeah, I caught the argument on my ring cam. I didn't think nothing of it. Him and Wendy used to argue all the time. I didn't think it was relevant until after she came up, unalive. And then I took it to the police. Then they had this other woman who claims that Ozzy was abusive towards her, that Ozzy, was physically abusive towards her and put his hands on her. Well, come to find out, he had a whole restraining order against her, and she had shown up at his house violating the restraining order, which is why, not saying that made it okay, but just what led to the altercation where he ended up putting his hands on her. So that's sort of kind of like nullified what she had to say to make it seem like he was so abusive and he did this and he did that. So Jax and her girls go out to dinner again, which is a great thing. I love to see them together. I love to see the sisterhood. And what we find out is that Jax is confiding in the doctor about who Ozzy's abuser was and what they should do about it moving forward. And she was like, listen, that's going to be a hard road to tote because this woman has been firmly embedded in their life. But you can do it. It's going to be a process, but we can work it out. And then, so they have a great dinner. They love on each other. They love each other up or whatever. When dinner is over, Jax apologizes to old girl. She apologizes to her and says, listen, I'm not judging you about the decisions that you've chosen to make with your husband. However, comma, I just want what's best for you because I believe you deserve better. At the end of the day, I know you love him and I know you want to see it work, but both of y'all have to be willing to make it work. If it's a one-sided situation, it ain't gonna come out right. And they apologize for calling each other haters and calling each other hoes. And that's what sisters do. I mean, I think the whole thing was a little deep. Okay. I don't know if I'm cool with my girl calling me a hoe, but I definitely understand the um the apology and the argument. Then they also gave Jax advice to go and talk to her father and say, and try to understand what the life of an addict looks like from his perspective. They were like, the doctor was like, listen, you need to really, maybe your father can help you understand what that process is of being an addict and going through the things of it that an addict goes through. So she goes to visit her dad, his little no-tail motel. Now, while she inside talking to her dad, Lewis is outside putting the tracker on the car. And of course, he sees her leave, and I'm sure he's pissed off about it because he don't want Jax to be around her daddy in any way, shape, or form, especially after her daddy, gave him his ass to him, handed his ass to him, with the situation. So, but Jax and her father were able to have a good conversation. She asked him, look, how did it start? You know, and he explained to her, he said, listen, in the music industry, drugs are everywhere. He was like agents, promoters, bandmates. Like he said, and it started off as a cigarette led to weed led to, he said, next thing I knew, I was shooting up heroin, and it just, he said, and in all reality, like my addiction became more important to me than anything. And so when he said agent, that was like a ding, 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 ding in Jax's head. Because remember, she already know that Monica is the one that's been, essaying him all these years. And now she's like, oh, wait a minute. So maybe she's the one that's been supplying him the drugs too, to keep him sort of incapacitated, you know? So she's starting to put one and one together. And she coming up with two, honey. Now, while this is going on, the child actor, he done ran down to the police station to tell his side of the story. I guess they didn't come up with his $100,000 fast enough because he done ran down there to the DA to tell his story. Now, the DA feels like he may or may not be as strong of a witness as they think he is because he sees holes in the story. But his boss is like, what you talking about? This man saying he's blowing up Ozzy's alibi. Like, you got to put him on the stand. You got to let him testify. And the DA is not really feeling like that's a good idea, but his boss, pulls rank and basically tells him, you need to put this man on the stand. So old boy gets on the stand to testify. And he says, yeah, me and Ozzy were hanging out, and then we were at his house, and then he asked me to take him down to the cabin. So I took him down to the cabin, and that's when he unalived Wendy. And, I ain't come forward and tell my story because I was scared. Baby, Jax ate his ass up on the witness stand. And basically what Jax did was she gave reasonable doubt because she said, so wait a minute. All we have is your word for that Ozzy was with you when y'all went down to the cabin, because they have him on camera like at the Easy Pass. She said all we can see on the Easy Pass is you. We don't see nobody else. We can't we can only verify your tag. We can't verify who was in the car with you. So for all we know, you went down to that cabin and you unalived Wendy and you were all by yourself. And Ozzy was back at the house because you said that y'all got high. You said that y'all got so high that Ozzy was in and out of consciousness. So you mean to tell me we supposed to believe that he was incoherent, that he was in and out of consciousness, but he was coherent enough to ask you to take him down to the cabin so he could unalive Wendy? Huh. So honestly, by the time she got done, he might as well have been a witness for the defense because he gave all sorts of reasonable doubt all up and through there, at least in my opinion. The other thing was Wendy's assistant testified, and come to find out Wendy's assistant was trying to take over the business behind Wendy's back. So Jax is tearing these people up, okay? Jax is tearing these people up. Now, while this is going on, Bill went. Listen, I missed this part, but I guess I'll throw it in here. But did I? I think I already put this in here, but maybe not. Bill, he did what he was supposed to do, honey. He showed up with the right flowers. He brought them kids home. He had done their homework. He had even bought dinner for his wife and for the kids. He was like, "Cause I know you working so hard, and I know the last thing you need to do is worry about dinner. So here you go. I bought dinner. I bought dinner for you and the kids tonight." And she kind of side-eyed him a little bit, but she was like, "I appreciate it." I'm showing the back of her mind. She's like, "Let me see how long this lasts. Let me see if this hold up. But I appreciate it while it's here. Okay, while it's going on, I'ma thank you. But I'm side-eyeing it though. I'm side-eyeing it. Child Lewis is following Jackson's daddy all over town, child. And I mean, it does look like Lewis might be hanging out with some seedy characters. I mean, like her daddy might be hanging out with some seedy characters, but I mean, he don't have no proof to nothing yet. He just has some thoughts. Okay, he just got some thoughts. Now, Jax confronts Monica and tells Monica, "Look, I know who you are. I know what you did, and I know that you've been abusing that boy since he was 13 years old." And Monica basically admitted it. She admitted what she was doing, and she was like, "Listen, don't judge me because you don't understand. Like, my job is hard, and I protect my clients at all costs." Girl, you were sleeping with a 13-year-old. So, I mean, she told Jack, she said, "Listen, listen, you are only here for the money and for the attention. Because when we called you in to help us with that NDA for Wendy, you couldn't get out of that meeting fast enough." That's not how I remembered it, but okay. She said, "But the minute, there was a murder involved, now here you come running for the spotlight. Baby, Lord, I said Max. She did not allow her to deflect. Okay, she did not allow her to deflect. She was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. That's what we're not going to do right now. We're not going to sit here and deflect on me. At the end of the day, you are vile. You are a pedo, and you have been violating this child. You're also his pusher. You're the one that's been keeping him high, right?" Now, she don't know why do I want to keep calling her Max? She don't know what to do with all this information yet, but she definitely has it in the back of her mind, and she's definitely pondering on it because y'all know how she get. Y'all know how she get when she gets something in her head, and so she is definitely pondering on it. Okay. Now while this is going on, the PI done rolled down to the sister's house. I mean, the sister done rolled over to the PI's house because they they dating. Okay, they dating. So she done rolled over there, and baby, they done got busy. Now he asked her about who Fuck No was and all the details surrounding Fuck No, and she said, "Listen, it was a thing. It wasn't a good thing. It's over now. Let's do what we do." And baby, they did what they did. Okay. Now while this is going on, hold on. Now, while this is going on, baby, Chanel done ran herself down to Sally's husband's house. Well, his looked like he got an apartment. And she said, "Listen, stop playing games with my cousin. Like, I get it. You mad at her, the house, now they never really said whether they actually lost the house. I guess they did though." And she said, "I get it. You mad at her, but she was my cousin. And I panicked and I ran. And I'm sorry that I did this. I'm sorry that I put y'all in this situation. But if you can't get past it and you can't get over it, then leave her alone. Stop playing games with her because she still loves you and she still wants to be with you. But clearly you don't want to be with her. So figure it out." And he says, and then he gives her this lecture on being a homeowner. He was like, "Do you understand what it meant? I was the first person in my family to own a home. Do you understand how embarrassing it was for me? Do you understand all the things that I went through?" She was like, "Yeah, I get it. But like I said, stop playing games with my cousin. Either you want to be with her or you don't. Let it go." And basically, Jax told Sally the same thing. Like, you can do better. Like, I know you want to make your marriage work, but if he ain't in it, you know. So then we see Sally and old boy, they having sex, and she gets up to leave and get dressed. And he tells her, "Hey, I think we should spend the holidays together." And she was like, "Oh, okay." Like, in her mind, she's like, "So this means we want to spend the holidays together." And he says, "Yeah, because I don't think we should confuse the kids." She was like, "So this isn't about us. This is about the kids. You're not." And I think at that moment she realized this man playing with me. Like, he's not doing this. So she ends up giving him the divorce papers. And of course he's sitting there like, "Wait, what? Huh? I'm sorry. What?" Divorce? Yeah, divorce, mother. Okay. Now, while Daniel and Sissy are getting it in, okay, they are getting it in. Jax is trying to call Daniel because she has figured out that Monica did it. She said she did it. She is guilty. I just got to prove it. And so she's trying to call Daniel to do what he does best to get the information that she needs. So, of course, Daniel don't answer the phone because he's getting busy. And then we see Ozzy actually call her, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she is literally burning clothes, and we see her throw a hoodie with some blood on it into some fire, and she talking about some protecting you. And that's where the episode ends. So that was episode 5. Child, episode 7, I think, dropped at midnight. So we're gonna try to get caught up this weekend with episode 6 and 7. But let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.